Live from the BBC studios in Maida Vale, High LLamas with Marc Z, and before that, Sisters Friends, one older number, one from the new LP, and two more to come. So hello to all of you. Thanks so much for doing this, and hello in particular to Sean. Would you mind introducing the rest of the band, please?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm looking straight over to Mr. Rob Allen.
Good evening.
Yeah. And then we have Johnny Fell.
Hello.
On bass. Marcus Holdaway, as always, on keyboards.
Hi there.
And massively honoured to be joined by the wonderful Ray Morris.
Hello.
And then keep it in the family, my daughter, Livia O'Hagan.
Hey,
And you're all very welcome and sounding so good. It's interesting you started off with Sisters Friends regarding the new LP, Hey Panda, because it starts off, if you can call it, sort of classic High LLamas start, and then it takes this other fantastic turn as well, which is, I suppose, reflective of the approach of this record as well, this embracing of, well, I think what are called production sounds of today. Is that right?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, on this record, I was just trying to say thank you to the generation who are making music now, because I just think we live in extraordinarily wonderful musical times, and just embracing some of that, whether it's lo-fi, hip-hop, or bedroom indie, hip-hop, R&B, whatever it is, it just sounds fantastic. And I think everybody knows what the High LLamas sound like, and so, you know, we've been doing it for so long, we may as well try and do something different. So it's really just an acknowledgement of that sound that we all love.
It's interesting because you said these are the finest non-judgmental musical times, which is a fantastic thought, and I suppose a contrast to everything else. Why do you think that is?
Really, I think it all goes back to hip-hop, and we all started playing music before hip-hop, and after hip-hop, a generation of young people were born. Those people are now in their sort of 20s and 30s, and so their knowledge of music, because of what hip-hop did, was bring in so much unknown music, but there's also an element of not being afraid to play your instrument. I think when we were young, and if you could play your instrument, you were sort of laughed at, but now people embrace their talent and also embrace the that thing like that post-hip-hop generation. I basically, for me, it's Jay Dilla. Jay Dilla changed everything.
I also want to mention, in passing, Tyler, the Creator, because he's expressed his love for High LLamas, Dorothy Ashby in particular. I was listening to his tune, Garden Shed, earlier, and it's very High LLamas-y. Do you know that number?
I think I do.
Yeah.
Livy my daughter keeps me up to date with Tyler's stuff.
Yeah. Have you considered working with him? Has he been in touch to that degree?
He's never been in touch, and I would absolutely die to work with him. I think the guy is a genius as a pop writer, as an arranger, and as a filmmaker. I think he's absolutely fantastic.
It's funny to watch. Hi, Sean. It's Marc here.
Hey,
hi,
Marc.
everyone.
Yeah,
just to say the kind of lineage of it all. Anyway, as you're talking about being influenced by hip hop, and then of course, if you go back to hip hop, it was influenced by Kraftwerk originally, wasn't it? You know, so there's an intriguing line there, and it's also interesting because, I mean, in a way, High LLamas are just doing what they did originally, because you became more sophisticated. You wanted to take a more sophisticated path very early on, didn't you? Because when you started out, it wasn't the traditional High LLamas sound as we got to know, was it?
No, I mean, I think the very beginning was almost like power pop, Santa Barbara, and then on Gideon Gay, we just brought it back to this kind of West Coast Gothic sound, which obviously owed a lot to Van Dyke Parks and Brian Wilson. And then it just started travelling towards Brazil, really. I think that's what happened then. But I'm glad you say it got sophisticated. I mean, I think that most people didn't know what we were doing, and certainly journalists just didn't get it. And we just had a pretty torrid time, and we're always sort of, I think, slightly lost because of that.
Well, you were right and they were wrong, so all's well that ends well. But I just need to say, before we go back to Gid, I just want to say, thank you very much for introducing me in a roundabout way to Nick Drake, because the very first song of Nick Drake's that I heard was your version of the chime of a city clock.
Wow.
On Brittle Days. I'd never heard of Nick Drake up to that point, and I fell in love with your version, and then obviously went and found out Nick Drake. So thank you.
You're welcome, Mark.
And while we're about it, thank you very much Mike for your role in Micro Disney as well. And we should mention this Friday night, 10 p.m. BBC 4, The Story of Micro Disney. Were you at the screening last night, Sean?
Yeah, we were. We were there. John Fell was there. Tom Fenner. We were all there, and it was a momentous and quite emotional occasion.
I bet it was. It's produced and directed by Julie Perkins, and very much a labour of love for her.
Absolutely, yeah. Julie was close to us and wasn't really aware of Micro Disney. And when we got back together, she saw these shows and said, "What? Had no idea that you had this other life before the High LLamas." And after that, she just basically doggedly pursued bringing the story to the screen and creating a narrative that we didn't even know existed.
I saw the Barbican show of those shows, and it was extraordinary, right up to and including the version of The Night at the End. And I assume it was wonderful for all of you who were there on the stage that night as well.
It was incredible, absolutely incredible. We honestly never thought we would ever do it. But it was a guy, Paul McDermott and Gary Sheehan in Ireland, who we trusted, and they basically dragged us and said, there are people who want to see this and you got to do it. And thank God we did do it, because, obviously we couldn't do it now. And, it was so fitting that we did it before we lost Carl.
Thanks again for this session tonight, and we are ready if you are, and everybody's ready for 2 more tunes. What would you like to play next?
Okay, we're going to do a song called Torreafan, which is about not being able to learn. It's about dyslexia, really. We'll just get on with it.
Take it away.